Now, another part to the standing up and down out of a chair is the lowering down part, or what commonly will be called the plopping down part. People will say, well, yeah, I just plop down all the time. Now, why do people just plop down all the time? And why is that so common? You'll just see that they'll just fall into the chair without any control. That requires a different type of contraction than the standing up. And so to make it simple, think of doing a bicep curl or lifting up a milk jug. You have the lifting up part, and then you also have the lowering down part. It's the lowering down part on a bicep curl or lowering down a milk jug. That's the same type of contraction as when we're controlling ourselves on the way down when we're going to sit down. It's a controlled type of contraction. It's called an eccentric contraction. And this is different than the type of contraction where we stand up. So we have to be able to train both. Basically, you want to work on training your ability to lower yourself into the chair nice and slowly, and also be able to stand up quickly and powerfully. And it's possible to train one, but then not the other. And so we want to make sure that we're training both. So we'll commonly recommend to stand up fast out of the chair on the way up, and then nice and slow and controlled on the way down. So that way we can strengthen when we're lowering ourselves down and have lots of control, as well as when we're standing up. And actually that lowering down part also helps with strength gains overall. Now, the lowering down part is also the part that actually increases the muscle soreness afterwards. So think of it as 12 to 72 hours afterwards is the muscle soreness that we come and experience with strength training. And even something like standing up and sitting down out of a chair can cause that muscle soreness 12 to 72 hours afterwards. That's very, very, very common. It's called delayed onset muscle soreness. Basically, know that the day or two after strength training, it's common to be sore in the muscles that you worked. And that most commonly happens with the muscles that you're doing that lowering type of contraction. That's where most of the soreness will come from. So if you're practicing that lowering type of contraction, then you're going to be more sore. That's a good thing. You do want to be sore. Now, as we're older, we don't want to get sore to the point where it completely puts us out of commission. Mostly from a motivational perspective, when that happens, as we get older, we tend to just not want to do that quite so much. So as we're strength training, if you get yourself working to the point where it puts you out of commission the next day, then that's additional feedback to you to say, okay, I did just a little bit too much. Now I just need to back off. And so that way you can regulate how much you should be strength training. And so then just go a little bit slower. And then that's perfectly fine, because doing the strength training is more important than doing too much strength training. Doing the strength training at all is the most important part. And if we go slower, that's perfectly fine. Just keep doing it. Just keep progressing it. Just keep making it better. Keep doing more repetitions, or keep adding more speed, or keep adding on more resistance. Either way, keep progressing, even if it's slow, and that's perfectly fine. Now, you might be wondering, okay, I'm not doing squats. I'm not putting a bar on my back. So how can I gauge resistance if I'm standing up out of a chair? Very simple. So think of the progression of standing up out of a chair as I'll go from standing up, putting my hands on the chair, and using my hands to help lift myself up. That's with the least amount of weight. Now, the next amount of weight is pressing down on my legs as I stand up out of the chair. That's going to increase the resistance because I'm no longer pressing into the chair or pressing into the armrest of the chair. I'm pressing into my legs to help myself stand up. Not quite as much help, so more resistance, more load. The most amount of weight is standing up out of a chair without your hands at all. And I like to have our clients go in what I call the prayer position right here. I have them put their hands right here, and then I'll have them stand up from the chair that way. And that way they have control over where their hands are. Otherwise, they'll tend to kind of do this middle ground thing where they put their hands on their legs, and are they standing up without their hands, or are they helping by putting their hands on their legs? So it's a way of being clear on, okay, are you standing up without your hands? So that increased resistance by removing our hands entirely. So you go from hands on the chair or hands on the armrest of the chair to standing up. That's with less resistance. Then the next step is putting your hands on your legs and standing up that way. And then the most amount of resistance is standing up, let's say if your hands in a prayer position, not using your hands at all, and standing up and down without using your hands at all. That's the way to increase resistance and steadily progress your strength over time. And then that way you can be sure that you're getting better, you're progressing, you're increasing your strength, and you're progressing your strength and increasing your strength in a very practical way, such as being able to stand up from a chair. And that's going to make a big, big difference in your life.